Squads right here. Special Grade just seemed to pull together every single top player that they could find in all of North American and European Splatoon. And if that wasn't enough, Futa from Japan has come in as well to play the Snipe Rider for them. And then on the other side, Life Expectancy 25, Snipes, Fly Zero, Jasmine, Poe, and then Ori also getting in there with some great plays as well. So, I mean, this has already been a surprising day. Who's to say Life Expectancy doesn't have one more in him? We're starting off at Splat Zone's Ship-Shape Cargo Co. Folks, here we go. Winners Finals. Super Jump 7. And Rissa, is there anything you notice here? I do see a certain Zimmy out, and boy, that's been a winner as of late.
Yeah, that was exactly, my brain immediately went to that Zimmy because it's been in the meta a lot recently, so getting to see it played here definitely is something that is expected, but really cool to see. And then they also are paired, both teams actually have an S-Blast. That's another weapon as well that's been very much prevalent in the meta right now.
Yeah, taking a look at the both here, really the only difference is what's your support weapon of choice? One side is the Zimmy Splatling, and then of course the other side with the tried and true Splash-O-Matic. We'll talk about that dynamic real quick here as Goss gets that crab, tries to find an opening to move people through, but right now there has not been a lot for for Special Grade, excuse me. Finally, they are able to take a little bit of control and start moving forward here. Soldier jumping on top, but this is why that comp that you're talking about, Rissa, with this S-Blast and with this Slosher is so strong. Once you find a way, it's two AoE weapons, and you have a lot of room for error, as Soldier shows right there.
Yeah, I feel like we've been seeing that a lot from both teams here. Both of those weapons play really well together, especially like on a stage like this that has so many levels. You're able to kind of sit back and just play over those ledges and not necessarily approach if you don't need to. As we're seeing a lot of chaos happen here. I mean, this zone keeps going back and forth. But yeah, these weapons, like you said, definitely playing really well for both teams on the different levels of this stage.
It's kind of interesting, too, how they're all just sort of diving right in at the other player's backliner and at the other player's support weapon. You know that you can always jump out here and really get no sort of punishment, and the Crab Tank being the big difference here should allow the other members to move through. You see Goss firing forward and Gray wasting no time getting up there. Goss might find one if the other players don't get up and attack it, but it's such a decisive move. Move around the left side, pop a shot here and there, try to give yourself an avenue to run out. And it's kind of wild that the scores are still this high given that we're 2 minutes into the game, but we do see just barely a flip of the lead, and we'll see if they can take it further.
All right, so zone still getting counted down by Special Grade right now, and as each team have 2 members down, I feel like this has just been, it's like such a really chaotic start. It's been so back and forth. Like you said, it take a while for each team to really count down points, but now a Special Grade is continuing to count down, about to be past 25 here. They're really set up right now to defend the zone really well.
They've got the Crab Tank as well, so if nothing else, they should have a chance to jump through. I think I saw a triple Ink Strike go out, but it was not able to cap. Hold on, Goss is going to dive down here with the Crab. It should be able to paint over this as well. Their own triple Ink Strikes come in. Jasmine, I'm sorry, the S-Blast is not the weapon you want trying to take a zone at the end. And there you go. Really, partway through that scuffle, there was an explosive 3-down situation that Special Gray was able to force. I didn't quite catch who did it. I would guess Gray probably had a say in it. But they only need that one opening, and that's why that Crab Tank is so strong as well. It can stall out, it can kind of take a couple of your opponent's specials out of the mix as well. It can turf over them, and every player knowing their job. But yeah, incredibly chaotic for a Splat Zones game. It almost felt like they were trying to play stack up the splats, as it were.
Yeah, it really did. Like you said it in the middle of that, it seems like everyone's just kind of diving at each other. And it wasn't one team or the other doing it. It was both teams. They just kept diving and playing kind of almost at the same, you know, aggressive pace. So yeah, that was like, typically as a commentator, I like to be like, okay, wait, I'm getting a feel for this team and how they play. but this one was it just started out extremely explosive.
Well, and what's funny is in that last set, Life Expectancy 25, they kind of out duck motif in the sense that they were moving forward, finding ways to dive, sharking the right players up and attacking here. And so I was kind of wondering, okay, teams come in to fight against these gray squads, as it were, and sort of, I don't want to say get mechanics diffed, but sometimes it feels like that, where when
Hmm.
you take one shot or when you take two shots, Gray gets it in one shot, or Goss lasers you down in a firefight when you miss maybe one or two shots. That game, it felt like it was going even until maybe they got hurted in the wrong spot and then three went down. That's really the only way to kind of get around the tacticooler spread. But now, Rissa, we get into the counter picks, and it's actually a pretty nice set of counter pick rules here. We can talk about that a little bit later, but surprise, surprise, it's no surprise. If you've watched the North American League at all, you know exactly how popular this map mode is.
Yeah, if I felt like for a second I was like, wait, where am I? Am I at the NA League right now? Because it is a very popular map for the NA League in particular. So this is a good way for players to continue playing on it since it's here in SuperJump as well.
Rainmaker Museum d'Alfonsino. This was really the stage where I was reminded that InkVac exists in a very rude sort of way. But, looking at these team comps here, I'm not sure where they end up finding it. FT Win, I know, is a team that has a lot of versatility and finds ways to bring it in. But in the last set, Life Expectancy 25 played here. They didn't bring it out. They did switch over to the traditional mini Splatling, more vanilla, so they had the hammers very strong there. But Gray squads tend to not change things up a whole lot, and why would you? But here we go. Looks like, yeah, much the same on one side, and on the other side, it is the traditional mini Splatling, and Jasmine bringing out the custom range blaster. And Rissa, is my memory failing me? I feel like I've seen you play that weapon a few times too.
I have played that weapon a few times. I am a big range blaster fan. So me seeing that come out of nowhere, I think is, I'm excited to see it because typically right now it's the S Blast or maybe the Rapid Blaster, but we don't get to see the range blaster played a lot.
Well, there's something to be said for how good that weapon is at continuing pushes with the Kraken starting continuation. I wanted to compliment it more, but three of them are down now, so I'm not going to get the chance to do it. As Soldier continually move, Huta already on top there and takes out that first checkpoint. They popped it as well. Mercifully, Gray does go down, and they're going to try to pop some specials on the side of Life Expectancy 25 to at least give themselves some breathing room. It appears they've achieved that. Well, maybe not. They didn't get the last member away, so they're going to have to fight their way out. But there's explosive openings again, and Rainmaker can be so frustrating when a minute into the game you already feel like you're having to play a desperate defense.
Yes, the mental just ability to not go, okay, wait, they're just absolutely steamrolling us right away. As a player at this high of a level of Splatoon is one of the things that makes these players high-level players, because they, even though they're just completely getting rushed at the start, they can still step back and say, all right, we got this defense mode, let's stick together here.
Well, here they go. They've got the right specials here, and they are able to catch out that Rainmaker player here. A couple of their members were, I think, pushed really far back, so it's almost a good thing that they ended up finding somebody there. I think some more points were on the board for Special Grade to take, but we'll go ahead and call that a nice shut door defense here. If they can take care of Soldier here on this left side, they should have the resources to move forward. That's a jump out. That's one up. Kraken is up there taking a couple people out of the way and actually get one with the full range of that range blaster. Rista, finally we can talk about that weapon as we see already a break of the checkpoint.
Mesmerizer there, grabbed the Rainmaker and dunked it immediately. Great usage of the entire team from Life Expectancy 25 as they grab the Rainmaker, take the lead as well at that. They had to wait for the perfect opening, and as soon as they got one member down, all of a sudden they got another member down of Special Grade. And then after that, they just completely, I loved that they just really used that opening that they had and got the lead there.
Did, although now three of them went down, and I'm not sure how many of them had Tacticooler either. Mesmerizer backed all the way up here. Oh, Goss is already here and had a crab take this whole time. Oh, that's the lead. God, we don't even get to compliment Life Expectancy 25 here. They moved in too quick.
They really did. They are here. They grabbed the Rainmaker once again. Goss there just getting a few more points while he's right there to do so. And man, it looked so good for Life Expectancy there once they had that opening, got the lead. But man, Special Grade just said, all right, well, we can play Explosive too and turn that completely around.
Well, and the risk there too was, what really opened all that up is Ori was sharking in the center of the stage to try to take the Rainmaker carrier out when the other two had gone. When that works, it buys your team almost 10, 20 more seconds here and at least allows you to build a special or two up. But if it doesn't work, I mean, you kind of see what happens right there. So, I mean, it's one of those, like, it's the right decision to make even if the outcome didn't work the way that you want to, because the risk and the reward is so skewed for the reward. But now already Futa moving all the way back through here. Poor Jasmine has done everything except take this Rainmaker carrier out.
Oh my
Somehow
gosh.
gets away. Futa dancing and moving all the way around. Finally has some assistance from the team. All the while, though, time ticks away.
Holy moly, Futa, this is one of that was some of the best Rainmaker like movement I've ever seen. I would have gone down immediately as soon as the Kraken approached me. So man, that was some good movement right there.
Well, okay, we're down to now 70 seconds left on the clock here. They're fighting out. And I mean, this is where it's not so fun to play on Museum, I would say, is, yeah, eventually you know that if you keep getting backed up, they're going to move up and attack you here. And it's so difficult to even move up to your Rainmaker. Gray's moving it up here, but he might opt just to continue firing at them. Milk a little more time off the clock, wait until you get one player down. And yeah, I mean, that hammer never really even had a chance unless it was thrown immediately. They spotted Ori up on this side, and Rissa, this is starting to get ugly here. They're starting to pad the stats a little.
They really are. Gray just holding the Rainmaker here. There's a cooler that comes out as well for the remaining members of Special Gray. They're just holding on. Jasmine doing everything they possibly can to try and put a stop to Gray there. Paired with the hammer, the Rainmaker finally goes down, but it is in quite an awkward spot here on the map as it's in this back left corner. And there is a tall hill to climb right now if you are life expectancy grabbing this Rainmaker and hopefully heading into overtime.
And unfortunately, their pen player is the one who grabbed it. So, I mean, at this point, oh, well, okay, two have just gone down there almost immediately. And I think the music is starting to move up to a fevered pitch at this stage. The mini Splatling is going to try to move forward, but that one had been decided for a little bit. I want to point out the hilarity, by the way, of a Kraken and an Ultra Stamp diving after Gray when Gray is on an uninkable surface. And yes, Gray did go down, but so did both of those short-range explosive specials in the process. So this is what we expected to see from Special Grade. I know, looking back on their bracket run, you see them almost lose to Bet, and you're wondering, okay, is this just a rusty day for Special Grade? Was Bet just playing out of their minds? And over these first two games, Rissa, I can say probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a little bit of both going on. I think it's interesting too. This is just my ADHD brain here thinking. I was thinking about how Special Grade is playing, and it's really interesting seeing Goss playing a more supportive role. Just because I feel like typically Goss is one of the more aggressive, explosive players that's going to be getting picks, and I like that getting to see this side of him where he's adapting to playing with someone like Gray, who's going to be really aggressive on that blaster. Getting to see Goss play more supportively, but it's working out really well for them.
Well, talk about that a little more, because we've certainly seen his 52 gal, but we've also seen him on dualies in the past, so he has another way to get to the crab tank. Why do you think it's the splash instead of the dualies in this case?
That's a really good question, actually. I don't know. I don't know if maybe they're thinking something to do with paint. Maybe it'll paint a little bit more. Maybe they want that extra bomb that the splash has. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, burst bomb into... I think Nox and Raze made a joke earlier that like most conversations can end if you say, but it has burst bomb. So maybe that's part of it too. You've got two weapons that have burst bomb, and one of them's an S-Blast as well. So yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. That makes it tough. But I listen, anytime you slide a Splash-O-Matic into your composition, it's going to be hard to argue against it. It's the evergreen weapon here. I guess Slosher's a bit evergreen as well. So this is looking a little tough for life expectancy. And I'm not really certain that there's anything that can be done on the weapon select screen at this point. We'll see what the counter pick is. Again, really, their only rules are the picking team can't pick the last mode they've won on, and they can't pick the last, or any map, excuse me, that they've won on. So neither of those currently a problem for life expectancy. They're going to take it to Splat Zones Mahi, and I am curious. I mean, maybe they feel like they just had to fight it out in that earlier game, and maybe they want to fight it out again, and that's where they feel best.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, I'm really trying to think about what their thought process was going to this one. Or maybe too, it's maybe they've scrimmed it and they're really comfortable on it. They know what their game plan is. And yeah, I agree. Like you said, I don't think it's going to be more so weapons here. It's just going to be the type of play style and how they approach this team.
Well, the Zimmy Splatling from Poli is back out here, so listen, I love a good big bubbler on this particular stage. You get up onto your opponent's side of the I mean, kind of their drop really anywhere under that, and you put that down, it really stalls out the opponent and makes their job difficult. The real question is, now that you don't have a bomb, are you going to be able to assist your teammates from a distance when it comes to the fights? They're going to have to find that answer pretty quickly. They've actually taken 2 out here. If they're able to kind of push aside Goss's crab here, they should have an opportunity to push them back. It appears for the time being, though, they won't get to do that. Ori does a nice job here putting some specials on the zone. They're just trying to keep their foothold until the reinforcements come, and it appears they've done that for the time being. Nice stuff here early on from Life Expectancy 25.
I'm always so impressed with sloshers in particular when they don't necessarily have a lot of paint around them like Ori here, but Ori was doing a good job at making it work and trying to create space ahead of them for their team to try and get the zone. It worked out well for them, and I'm just always really impressed with sloshers when they're able to do that, because myself as a player, I would be done for.
I mean, knowing what resources you have at a given moment is something that these top players are so good at identifying. And that crab tank again from Goss, speaking of nice resources to have here, it seems like every time they need to find a way back in or at least get a little cover for their frontline players to move in, Goss always has it. And again, it's 3 down. Jasmine, the last player, all the way back here. And yeah, I mean, we'll go ahead and call that a delayed 4. Look at how far they are, Rissa. This is starting to get ugly again.
Yeah, I just blinked, and all of a sudden the entire team of Special Grade is over in Life Expectancy 25's base. They are making sure that they are pushed forward and not letting Life Expectancy 25 do anything. And we see the remaining members of Special Grade who did go down there, jump in to their anchor there to just get back into the zone really quickly. And they are holding it down right now.
They did. Oh my god, like 3 things happened there that I wanted to talk about. So Puli went forward and basically single-handedly took that zone. Then all of the other members of Life Expectancy 25 went down to, I don't know, maybe 1 triple ink strike or something. They all went down so quick. Then Puli gets another one, and all the while it comes out in the watch that Special Grade is still in control. Jasmine in a nice position and takes out the crab, but where are the reinforcements? They have the paint advantage, and they'll continue to keep themselves alive. Great stuff again from Life Expectancy, but they have to identify where these are. Another nice shot from Ori. So, Rissa, again, we're seeing in these kind of long extended firefights, Life Expectancy is finding ways to go through. It's just these 2 or 3 little moments where Special Grade finds the opportunity to get the multi-kills, and that's really been the difference thus far.
Special Grade, once they recognize they have an opening, they really take it. They don't hesitate at all. That's something that, oh, what happened here? 3 members down on Special Grade. This might be the moment that Life Expectancy 25 wanted. It is. There's essentially a complete wipe, and the lead is just in their grasp.
Well, yeah, this is definitely the lead. Will this be more than the lead, though? Okay, you can see Futa at the top of the screen isn't going to be able to reach the zone with those shots. It's just going to be Gray diving forward. Futa not going to be able to outpaint 3 different players and a special. And Life Expectancy 25, I mean, we talked about the multi-kills. When 2 or 3 go down in an immediate scrum, that's when Special Gray was able to push all the way forward. Life Expectancy 25 keeping the game alive over and over. Finally, Rissa, they get their multi-kill opportunity, and they take it the distance. And here we go. We got ourselves a set.
We really do. I was definitely seeing signs of life from them in those first 2 games, and this 3rd game now really showed that. It almost seemed like they maybe needed to just figure out their game plan against this team in particular. What was it that they did differently? I'm sitting here trying to comprehend what I just witnessed, because whatever happened there at the end, it worked out very well for them. They not only got the lead, but just completely KO'd it.
Well, I think we see now why they chose Mahi Mahi. We said at the start, okay, I guess they just want to go somewhere where they can fight and fight and fight and fight, because you know that the opponent is bringing a lot of the same stuff. As we'll take a look at the highlights here. I mean, this part early on is where we thought that it was going to end in a hurry. We didn't think that there was going to be any chance for Life Expectancy to pull this one back, but this is one of those stages where, because you can get back into a fighting position so quickly, you got to win 1 or 2 more fights than you might think. And they got Gray a couple times before he was able to make a jump out. And we know how big of a deal that is when that means you're not going to have to worry about it. You see Ori won the fight against Soldier right there. They had stacked Futa up on that side. So I love, again, them identifying where these attackers are coming from, pulling it out and fighting here, because, again, they know that there's no tricks from the weapon side. You're running a very similar comp as your opponent. You've just changed your support weapon, so if it works for them, it works for you too.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed like like you were saying, as soon as they put eyes on where the other team was coming from and made sure that they had an eye just on everyone from the other team, that's when it ended up working out really well for them.
Well, here we go. It's the old reliable tower control on Inkblot Art Academy. I'll save my groans because Goss has switched weapons now over. So enough of the Crab Tanks, which is kind of interesting given how strong Crab Tank is on tower control. But now Goss, with that splatter shot in hand, should be able to provide some long-range support of a different flare. And on the other side, Life Expectancy, of course, going to keep that big bubble. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Might as well. Definitely, especially on tower control, right? You're going to want to have that big bubbler as there's immediately a bubbler on the tower as we're talking about it. That's crazy. That's awesome. Able to get that big bubbler so fast.
Well, here we go. I mean, they will ride it for a few points. They weren't able to get to that checkpoint, and again, it's going to be this scrum in the center, and they've actually done a nice job of keeping some sort of control on this left side because it appears the right side was falling down, and sure enough, the walls do come crumbling, and here comes the first push now. Goss firing those really quick. I think realized almost immediately that there wasn't anybody for him to even fire at, so just go ahead, fire as quickly as possible, and then get back on the tower. Will be the designated tower rider as well. Love that for the splatter shot because it has that range special to assist. They've already cycled a frontliner again, and now it's a second shot that'll be coming out here from Goss's Trizuka, and they'll continue to push at this point, rotating the attacks. If they get past this checkpoint this quick into it, this is going to be a rough defense, and it's only getting harder.
It really is. We see Pooley here finally able to drop down and get a pick onto Grade. Another member on special grade down as well. My gosh, how many Zukas has Goss had already? Every time I blink, 2 blinks, all of a sudden Goss is Zuking once again. So very impressive. Those continuous Zukas like that are just going to be able to continue to add pressure and keep that tower up there as we've been seeing happen here in the last, 20 seconds?
Well, I mean, just look, right there, that little glimpse that we got of his gameplay should tell you all you need to know about what his objective here is in this right now. We're not even looking at where the opponent might be coming from. Turn around, build your Zuka. And the nice thing is you're not committed to it nearly as long as Crab. So earlier when I said, why not Crab Tank? Well, here it is. This is faster. You're getting your special out. You're applying distance pressure. And then you're back to your main weapon really, really quick. Futa's still fighting it out here. Hold on a minute. It's 1 versus 3, and the 1 is a pen. So, honestly, not a bad trade because it means they have their left box here. Soldier's going to run over and get taken out quickly in the fight. So, Futa trying to play the hero there and did a pretty good job, but eventually, of course, you will have to lose it. And, that jump was a little aggressive. It appears that they've got enough players here that they should be able to play some form of defense as that big butler gets shredded. A wipeout comes through already. Goss is all the way up here. Rissa, I'm laughing too much. Take it away.
Yeah, watching Goss run up, that was the perfect mix of how Goss typically plays, could rush up and act aggressively and not hesitate, but also stayed just back enough that he was able to use his Zuka there as a more supportive type special to push back members of Life Expectancy coming out of their spawn. So now again the tower all the way over on the other side of the map, and special grade is just continuing to cycle these specials over and over and over, and it is allowing them to just take up so much space here in front of the tower.
When you see how difficult it is for Life Expectancy when the game gets into the more, measured, like, you attack here, your opponent defends here sort of gameplay, when you can't force all these weird scrums that you can on some of these other Splat Zone stages, it's just, listen, when a team gets the lead early on in the game, it completely changes the dynamic here. You've seen that Special Grade has been able to throw themselves at these riskier attacks, knowing that there's really nothing bad that can happen to them if they don't go their way, and every fight has basically gone their way, as Special Grade will knock it out on Inkblot Tower Control once again. And they, our top seed, will move on to Grains. It's been a little bumpier of a ride than they maybe expected as they came in, but they were the top seed for a reason.
Absolutely. That last game, too, I think definitely showed that. As soon as they lost a game, all of a sudden they turned a switch on and they were like, okay, no, we are locking in right now. We are headed to grand finals and we're just going to end up completely taking this. They did a really good job, but definitely shout out to Life Expectancy 25 because they had signs of life throughout those first 2 matches like I previously talked about, and then definitely showed that there in that third game and played that one really well.
They did, and I hope in those two Splat Zones games, you, the audience, were able to kind of get a glimpse of how this team was able to 3-0 Milky Way and then fight their way up through here. Also, keep an eye on Milky Way because they're still in. They're in losers semis right now, and they have not dropped a game since they got knocked into losers round one.